Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Just lovely to have you along for the ride. Of course, Eagles training camp gets underway. Conditioning drills, press conferences galore, and you have Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni addressing the media yesterday. I did get my Paris Campbell shout out. I knew we'd get a Paris Campbell shout out. It wasn't in the context that I thought it was going to be, but it was still a shout out to Paris Campbell. We had the drama addressed between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. I mean, all the right things were said, but it was almost like too much information was given. Like, if you're cool with somebody, you're not like, let me tell you for 3 paragraphs as to why I'm cool with this person. It's like, no, we're good. What? Okay, anyway, next question. I mean, they try to kind of make it seem like it's nothing, but there's something there that's not positive. Okay, you stay over there in your lane. I'll stay over here in my lane. Cool. Not that they're at odds. I just don't think that there's a great amount of respect. Well, from Jalen Hurts to Nick Sirianni. I think Nick Sirianni is just happy that he gets to say hi to Jalen Hurts in the morning. So there you go. So we'll get into that conversation. We'll let you hear from both parties on the relationship there. And then we'll get into what actually matters. I mean, not that I don't think that the drama does matter. I do think it matters. But what's really important, of course, is what's going on the football field. The extremely unofficial first depth chart, if you will. Not necessarily one released by the Eagles where it says at the bottom, usually, if you remember this from like the last couple of years here, I think of the Bob Lang era of running the PR department for the Eagles. It'll say at the bottom, like, all these are unofficial. Like all the names on the depth chart in the order we have them in, they're unofficial. This was just what we observed as a PR staff, not even the coaching staff, right? But didn't get that yesterday. But what I did see was other reporters and the way they were noticing how certain members of this team were organized, especially when it comes to the linebacker position and it comes to the cornerback position. Very interesting. We'll get into that conversation today. But loved what I heard from Saquon Barkley yesterday. Loved what I heard from Darius Slay yesterday. Brandon Graham. We'll hear from Saquon Barkley. We'll hear from Nick Sirianni. We'll hear from Jalen Hurts, and we'll hear from Darius Slay. Because when Darius Slay speaks, you just have to at least hear like 30 seconds of him because he's just so damn entertaining. Outside of the world of football, we'll get into the Phillies because they decided to blow yet another 3-run lead on this road trip. They also decided to not help out their starting pitcher while their starting pitcher was in the game. So that's fun. And the bullpen decided to blow another one. Gregory Soto tried his damnedest 2 nights ago to blow a win for the Phillies. He didn't. He failed at that. He was successful this time in blowing a game for the Phillies. Now, was it all on Gregory Soto? No, it wasn't all on Gregory Soto. Was it all on Matt Strahm? No, it wasn't all on Matt Strahm. Was it all on Orion Kirkrick? No. Was it all on Brandon Marsh being unable to field a baseball? I mean, catch a baseball is probably more appropriate. In the left center field gap, a ball that he got to and just didn't raise his mitt enough. Was it all on the fact that the Phillies were 2 for 11 in scoring position? I mean, it's all a lot of that. But why Gregory Soto is getting used now in high leverage situations is beyond me. If you're Rob Thompson, you have to figure that you dodged a bullet in game 2. When he throws nine pitches, only throws 2 strikes, walks a guy, throws a wild pitch, you go, all right, maybe not ready for high leverage situations, Gregory Soto. But he's like, no, let's put him in another high leverage situation. No, don't dodge the bullet this time. The only out he recorded in that 9th inning was a sacrifice bunt. Other than that, another wild pitch. Oh, and the game's over. Did he allow the ball to get hit on the screws for the walk-off infield RBI single? No, he obviously did not. But the only guy that really did worse yesterday was out of the bullpen was Orion Kirkring. And now the Phillies have the highest ERA. Their bullpen has the highest ERA in the 6 games since the All-Star break. Remember before the season, when MLB.com said this would be the best bullpen in baseball. They were right for like up until the All-Star break, a little bit before the All-Star break. Some guys started to struggle a little bit. Jose Alvarado had been extremely dependable, not so much. Matt Strahm, extremely dependable. That started to go a little bit by the wayside right before the All-Star break. I don't fault Matt Strahm gave up a big, obviously, 2-run double to Carlos Santana, but it should have died in the mitt of Brandon Marsh, who had a misplay. Not an error, but a misplay. And then Soto has just been terrible. There's no missing words there. And the offense has been wildly inconsistent, as we know. So we'll get into the Phillies' loss yesterday. We'll go through it step by step. First, your Philadelphia Eagles. Before I get into the he said stuff, I do want to mention a depth chart. I do want to mention Dallas Goedert having himself apparently a nice little day for himself yesterday on the practice field. There was one guy that really stood out in a non-padded practice. Dallas Goedert seemed to be the guy that really stood out according to all reports. But when it does come to this depth chart, one of the things that we were talking about a lot was the starting cornerback opposite Darius Slay. I had mentioned Keely Ringo. I thought would be the guy that would be the first man up with that responsibility. I did not think it was going to be Quenyon Mitchell. Yesterday, it was not Quenyon Mitchell. He was the number 2 guy. We know Cooper DeJean is dealing with an injury right now. But the starting corner yesterday on the practice field, this was surprising, was opposite Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers. Back in the fold after some gambling issues, he was slotted as your opposite corner to Darius Slay. James Bradberry, for those wondering, as many of us assumed going back to minicamp when we heard about the possibility of James Bradberry playing the safety position, we had talked about it at the time. I mentioned it at the time. This is just trying their damnedest to trade James Bradberry and not have to cut him and not have to have a big old plate of dead cap money with a side of ranch. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just trying their damnedest to get something in return. No, we don't want to trade James Bradberry. We've used him as a slot corner last year. We know he can play outside corner, but we thought it would be better to get some other guys to play that, even though we think he's good. And now we can also have him at the safety position. Oh, he's a very versatile player. We want to keep around a versatile player. It's a last-ditch effort to just salvage something with James Bradberry. And then I know that there's still people out there that think James Bradberry, in this system with Vic Fangio, a veteran, you're going to need a veteran that can communicate. And James Bradberry can be that guy. James Bradberry right now is a safety. So I don't think the long-term future is him playing corner for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I still don't think that James Bradberry playing for the Philadelphia Eagles is in their long-term future either. Safety position, sure, try it. But as far as him playing for the Eagles, I think it's over. I don't think he plays it. I don't think he suits up in the regular season. And the Eagles are doing everything in their power to say, no, look, we can still use him. So give us something for him. No, seriously, please. We beg you. So I thought that was interesting just from the unofficial depth chart. And then this. I tried my damnedest to not buy into this, to just kind of file it under the, well, what's he gonna say type of thing. But it appears Zach Bond is a starting linebacker right now. Their early look at the Eagles defense is Devin White and Zach Bond as the starting linebackers. I didn't think that was going to be the thing. I thought they were going to try to have Nakobe Dean and Devin White play next to each other. That doesn't appear to be the case. When Howie Roseman addressed the media yesterday, Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday, they both talked about how that was going to be interesting. I thought it, again, file it under what's he going to say. Usually, when a head coach is trying to dodge a question on a depth chart, they just say, well, everything's a competition. They'll say something generic like that. But the fact that when Nick Sirianni was asked yesterday about the linebacker position for your Philadelphia Eagles, the thing that he talked about was, yeah, that's going to be a good one. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So it seems like they're really looking at this, believe it or not, at the linebacker spot as if there's going to be some competition there. All right. I look forward to it. Just coming from yesterday saying, I don't, 2 days ago saying, I don't care about the linebackers because the Eagles don't. It appears that the linebacker position, at least the position battle of the, do I say talents? Of the players they've assembled to compete for the position, they feel like it's pretty close right now. I mean, Devin White seems to be the clear-cut number one guy, but as far as who's going to be outside opposite him, right now, Zach Bond and then maybe Nakobe Deep. So that's the way that could work out as far as the depth chart goes. Everything else, not that. Paris Campbell was your third wide receiver. Offensive line, Tyler Steen at right guard. Cam Jurgen, shocker at center. Was interesting listening to A.J. Brown talk about Jason Kelce not being there. It still hasn't hit him yet and all that. So all that was good stuff from yesterday. Everything was pretty much everyone just being really positive, as you would expect on day one. And then, of course, there was the start of the press conference circuit. Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman addressing the media at 9:28 yesterday morning. And then after practice, Jalen Hurts sat by the microphone. Let's start it off with Nick Sirianni. Yesterday, Nick Sirianni addressed the media. The first question of the press conference was him being asked about his relationship with his franchise quarterback.
Only thing you can judge your relationships on is your personal interactions with people, not any report that comes out. And, Jalen and I's relationship is good. It's, again, you just can judge it based off of what your personal interactions are. And so when you hear a report like that, you don't put much stock into it because, quite frankly, not everybody sees that. So I'm so excited for him and I to get into our fourth year together. We've done some pretty special things, and I'm really excited for him. He's worked so hard at his game. I'm excited for him to be able to get back out here today and have a good practice today. And, just looking forward to continuing to work with him and continue to build on the special things that we've done.
Really excited. Going to be working with them. They're in a good place. Feel like they're good. Everything's great. Everything's great. I don't think he has any real responsibility with his quarterback. He's an offensive-minded, quote-unquote, offensive-minded head coach of a football team in the NFL, and I don't think he has anything to do with his quarterback now. That's what I get out of that answer. And I get toleration. I really feel like the Brian Johnson situation ruined a lot of their relationship. Yeah, hey, they win, then everything's simpatico. Jalen Hurts is winning with Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore as the leader of the offense, Kellen Moore as the play caller. Then, Nick Sirianni, your positivity, your good energy. Yeah, all right, cool, man. We're awesome. We're great. Grand. But if this goes south, it's not going to be pretty. And as we all know already, Nick Sirianni is very much on the hot seat. So as far as that goes, maybe Jalen Hurts is just thinking, I might not have to tolerate this guy for a lot longer. But hey, just keep going with your rah-rah speeches, Nick. When you're addressing the team in team meetings and your message to the team 2 days ago before the first day of training camp when everybody showed up at the NovaCare complex, hey, the message to the team that Nick Sirianni had was, go out there and be a professional every day. Get a little bit better, very common one, and then be a professional. Go about your business like a professional. Great message. All right, we'll be over here. Like Nick Sirianni yesterday, just to distill this even further. Nick Sirianni yesterday talking about being in the defensive ends room. Okay? His new role as head coach of the football team is to be in the defensive end. Like, I know he's just throwing that out as an example of how he could bounce around and pay attention to everything now. It just seems really odd. This guy started out as not just the head coach, but the play caller, game planner and play caller offensively. And now he gets to spend like 2 minutes in every room. I don't see how that's so what you do well is motivate. All right. Didn't see that at the end of last year, but all right, let's get that going. And your relationship with the franchise quarterback seems to be, hey, Jalen, have a good day today. Thanks. All right, cool. That's where we're at right now. Hey, the Eagles have tried unconventional things before in the past. They told Howie Roseman to go away, and then they told him to come back, and they won a Super Bowl 2 years later. So, Nick Sirianni, do less. We have other guys that are going to do more, but you just do less. And don't get in the way of the quarterback's vibe, I guess. As far as Jalen Hurts being asked about it, as you would assume, it was the first question asked to him. He wasn't even settled yet at the microphone at training camp yesterday. I think it was Elliott Shore-Parks that led it off with the conversation or with the question from Diana Rossini's report about a strained relationship.
Jalen, there was a report that came out that you're in Nick's relationship.
Let me say this first. You go through an off season. You put a lot of work in. I think all the things that we've been through last year, all the opportunity we had last year, I know everybody's hungry. Everybody's hungry. There's a ton of opportunity in front of us this year. And I'm excited to be back. Excited to go through this journey and go through this season with everyone here. From everyone. And I truly trust Mr. Lurie. I trust Howie. I trust Coach Sirianni to lead us in that right direction. And I know there are different roles in place. Everybody has different responsibilities. There may be more demands from some than others. But I think to win championships, to be the team we want to be, everyone has to buy into that role, and everyone has to, really be fully committed to doing their part in helping the team. And so I'm excited to go on that journey. I feel like for me as a player, as a leader, everything that we went through last year, I just feel like I'm equipped to handle whatever's to come.
Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, all that stuff. Good, wonderful. Everything started out well there. And I love the idea that he wanted to address it head on. And before the question was even asked officially by ESP, he just jumped out. No, let me on that note. On that note, like Nick and I are good. We're on the same page. Look forward to going on the journey. All that stuff. Said all the right things. And then he started talking about roles. And what I got out of it was like everyone needs to stay in their lane. Everyone needs to know their role and all that stuff. When he went into that avenue of the question, when he went down that street of answering the question, I'm like, oh, okay. Now we're talking. This is Nick. You're over there now. You're in the broom closet that Howie was in. What, 7 years ago now? 8 years ago now? You stay over there. And you come out and you do your thing where it's like, oh, go get them. And then we go out on the field and then we listen to our coordinators who are essentially the head coach of the defense, head coach of the offense. And then we go win football games. And then maybe you don't jump around as much and you don't tell, Chiefs fans, see ya, all that stuff. Maybe you don't do as much of that, which, by the way, for the record, I never minded, but maybe I think that's just Nick being Nick. I don't think that's pandering and whatever. But when it comes to the actual relationship with the quarterback, I think like Nick Sirianni's responsibility with the Eagles offense, his responsibility with the quarterback has also dwindled. It is diminished. He is being asked to do less. And it goes back to the question asked at minicamp about how much of the offense is different to him. And Jalen Hurts said 95%. There's one more variation or one more take I got out of listening to, because I went back yesterday and listened to it again after I listened to Jalen Hurts' press conference yesterday. And I was like, let me just go back and listen to that answer again. And one of the things that jumped out to me about that was maybe it's not necessarily an excuse about, oh, now it's all different. Maybe it's more of an indictment of Nick Sirianni last year, where, Nick, I don't even know what the hell you were doing last year, but now we got to change your offense completely from whatever we were doing last year, whatever game plan you had put together last year. Now it's all different from what Kellen Moore is doing. Like now we have Kellen Moore, who's a professional offensive coordinator who has experience and has had success as a offensive coordinator and a play caller. I don't know what the hell you were doing last year, Nick, but we've had to change everything except 5%. Like we'll still have the tush push. Like by comparison for people. the comparison I use is Chip Kelly seemed like 95% different than Andy Reid, especially in the early goings of the Chip Kelly era, like 95% different. So what is this? What are we expecting when it comes to 95% different with this offense? I don't think it's going to be 95%, to be honest with you. And Jalen Hurts was asked about that same thing yesterday, and he said, you know what? Not everybody's the quarterback. Everybody who's not the quarterback has their own take on that answer. That's more or less what he said yesterday. All right, fine. 95% different to you. But as he went on with it yesterday, it just seems like Nick Sirianni does not have a lot of responsibility when it comes to Jalen Hurts as a quarterback and in this offense in general, which is kind of on brand for everything that we have heard throughout this offseason. I don't think the two hate each other. I don't think Jalen Hurts hates Nick Sirianni. I don't think it's anything over dramatic like that. I think Jalen Hurts is laser focused on his responsibilities that has not changed, have not changed at all. He is still being asked to be the franchise quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. That hasn't changed. He's got to go out there and he's got to have success. Otherwise, the Eagles very quickly are going to have another turnaround at the quarterback position after thinking they had another franchise quarterback. Very similarly to the way they did with Carson Wentz before Jalen Hurts. Quarterback factory. For the record, I don't think that's the way this goes. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be here for a very long time, and I think the Eagles are going to have a lot of success with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. But when it comes to responsibility, I don't think that there's much responsibility between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. I think all the responsibility is on Jalen Hurts' shoulders and between him and Kellen Moore. That's what it comes down to, which, again, is on par for what we have been hearing throughout this offseason, or at least throughout the offseason now. The training camp is underway. I do like what Jalen had to say as far as the offense coming together, guys getting on the same page, guys having the right mindset, guys having the right focus. And I know it's still something that is going to haunt people up until the Eagles hopefully get off to a great start in the upcoming season. Go out there in Brazil and dominate and do some great things. I hope that's the way it starts out. But until they have that great start to the season, people are still going to be talking about the gauntlet schedule of last year and being 10-1 and dropping to 10-3, and then, of course, dropping 5 of their last 6 games and just playing just horrible football, non-situational football, choking a great season away and all that. It's still going to be on their minds. Well, Jalen Hurts' message yesterday was, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger even more. And this is here he is talking about the struggles of last year and getting over it.
It's as simple as if I made it happen, I can make it happen. And this team has made it happen before, and there's no doubt that we can make it happen again. But it takes what it takes, and it takes being together. And my message to the team after we did our conditioning test, and even after our first day of practice, in which I thought was a good day of practice, but talent. I've been on very talented teams. My pretty much my whole career, I played around talent, and talent wins you games. It'll take you very far, but it don't last. Teams is what win championships, and that's what we're trying to do.
A little technical issue here. My apologies, everybody. All right, having a little technical issue. My apologies. Trying to take that off. There we go. We're good. We're good. As far as Jalen Hurts goes, with that comment, talking about if I've done it before, I could do it again. That kind of thing. If we've done it before, we could do it again. If we've gotten to a Super Bowl, that's what he's talking about. If we have had success with this franchise recently, have had success. Getting out to 2 10-1 starts is amazing. That shows any time at any stretch at any point you could go 10-1. I mean, let alone just to start out the season, but anytime that can happen, that's miraculous. To have that kind of focus week in and week out, that's one of the things I would praise Nick Sirianni for in the last 2 seasons. How hard it is to go 10-1 to start out a year. That shows that you're focused. That shows that you're prepared. That shows that your game plan is good. It shows that even if it's bad, you can adjust in game. Of all the things a season can throw at you, you find ways to win consistently. Now, 2 years ago, the finding ways to win story wasn't nearly as relevant as it was last year because, as I pointed out in the time, even while it was going on, while the Eagles were finding ways to win, that's great. That's a positive spin on it. That is a wonderful thing to do, but it is not the storyline of anything more than 3 or 4 weeks in a season. That can't be the way. Oh, they found a way to win. So they're scraping by. If you consistently are saying about your football team, granted, they're winning football games, but if the storyline is constantly, we found a way to win, that means you're struggling. That means you're scraping by. That means you're barely getting by. So that's what that football team was doing last year. And it showed. If there was ever a time to look at point differential with any relevance, it was last year. Because the Eagles were never controlling games. The stat I always go back to is in the year they went to the Super Bowl, they won 6 games by 10 or more points. Last year, they had 2 such wins. There were so many games throughout the season that could have gone either way very easily. Very easily. Both games against Washington, certainly. But I've mentioned the Seattle game more often than not. Those ended up being lost. That ended up being a loss, actually. But there were so many games like that throughout the season that were just so close, and they barely scraped by to get the win. You can't have that as your regular way of winning. You have to have a game where you're playing the full 4 quarters and all that stuff. There was barely any of that last year. So Jalen Hurts is calling on confidence of really 2 years ago and the start of last season. If you want to talk about pushing the struggles of last year far behind them, their confidence, their well of confidence, goes as deep as a Super Bowl run 2 years ago and goes back to being 10-1 last year before everything fell apart. The other thing that I do love in the answer there is talent. Is when he talks about talent. There's been a ton of talented football teams that went nowhere. Because, yeah, sure, they had talent on the roster, but they couldn't figure out a way for that talent to play together as a team. And that's not necessarily people with me-first mentalities and, I got to get the ball here and all that stuff. That's not to say that. That's just to say they couldn't find a way to make it work for whatever reason. This team is wildly talented. And when I look at and we'll hear from Saquon Barkley talk about how he still has to pinch himself when he's in this huddle with this Eagles team and the amount of talent that is surrounding him when he's in that huddle. The confidence I draw from is that the Eagles have done it before. Maybe not with as strong personalities, but still similarly. I mean, look, the biggest difference between the skilled position on offense this year is DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell, and Saquon Barkley. Kenny Gainwell's obviously still here. By the way, on that depth chart, he's number 2, as many of you would assume, behind Saquon Barkley. But the Eagles have, over the last 3 years, or excuse me, the last 2 seasons, been able to enjoy 1,000-yard wide receivers, plural, while their tight end has been healthy in Dallas Goedert. When he's healthy, he has got his touches, and their running back has gotten 1,000 yards. So everybody's getting a piece of the pie. Everybody's getting their turn to have an impact on a win to help this team, keep on winning. And less of what we saw at the end of last year. So I don't have a concern about what Jalen got into yesterday when it comes to the talent on this football team. You can have talent, but teams win. Well, teams that are made up of great talent should win. But what he's talking about there, what I feel the real message is, if you read between the lines, is these guys on this football team, we get along. We're all about winning. That's the only thing that matters. And everyone that addressed the media yesterday, whether it was Saquon Barkley, whether it was Jalen Hurts, whether it was Brandon Graham, on the defensive side of things, everybody to a man yesterday talked about how this team is going to come together. The new pieces are going to come together. Everyone's going to be on the same page, and there's nobody on this squad that is all about me. I know for some people, the name they love to jump to is A.J. Brown. I don't have any concern about A.J. Brown and his attitude. Zero concern. I still find it funny that the only person that Devontae Smith threw under the bus last year when he finally broke his silence and addressed the media, the only person he threw under the bus, it wasn't Nick Sirianni. It wasn't even really Jalen Hurts. When he threw Jalen Hurts under the bus, so to speak, he threw himself under the bus too. Oh, Jalen and I improvised on that last play against Seattle. Okay. But the only person he truly threw under the bus and said, you know who's a diva? Smitty's a bigger diva than me, but nobody talks about it. Thought that was phenomenal. But I love the attitude of everything's on paper now. And on that paper, it looks good. But that talent that's on paper doesn't mean anything unless we come together as a team and we go out there and we play our absolute best. So I thought everything was, for the most part, great. Listening to what I heard yesterday from Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Darius Slay, who we'll hear from, thought everything was pretty on point. But as far as the relationship with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, I feel like that's as close to non-existent, while not being a problem as it can be. I don't see, because here's where it could, and when my mind drifted with this is where I could this be a problem? And I'm like, okay, well, how would it be a problem? It would be a problem if Nick Sirianni felt like he had to wedge in there somehow and like get in the way. But I don't feel like Nick Sirianni is that type of guy. Plus, I don't think he has the power to do it. And I don't think he has the power to do it. And I also think he knows he doesn't have the power to do it. I think Nick Sirianni right now is more so filed under the position of happy to have the job. You want to bring in a new offensive coordinator? You want him to have power over the offense? I relinquish any power of the offense. All right, Nick, good. Thanks for stopping by. You just let Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman feel like they're running things, and you keep that positive attitude in the NovaCare complex. There are very controlling, hands-on head coaches. There are the CEO head coaches. John Harbaugh certainly jumps to mind a lot with that. There are the assistants to the regional manager head coaches, and that's kind of where I was filing Nick Sirianni under in the offseason. And now I think guidance counselor fits that pretty well. Philadelphia Eagles guidance counselor. That's where I think we are. And somehow I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem, which I never thought I'd say about a head football coach, but here we are. As far as strictly positive stuff here, Saquon Barkley was asked yesterday about the talent in the locker room, and he still can't believe that he's here.
It still doesn't feel real when I'm in that offensive huddle, seeing all those guys. You know, we have Pro Bowlers, all pros at every position, to be completely honest. So I'm really super excited. But we just come out every single day, get better. We're all in a new, similar kind of offense, getting adjusted to it, feeling off each other, and it starts there. And I think it starts today.
The word giddy comes to mind when I watch Saquon Barkley and listen to Saquon Barkley talk about, in general, being a part of the Eagles, and then the talent that surrounds him. The word giddy comes to mind. And they showed him yesterday running through. It's pretty interesting how the Eagles do it now. Previously, they would run straight out of the NovaCare complex from the main exit or entrance onto the practice facility field. And they just run right out. And they'd run through fans, But there was always a tent set up, a long tent set up with friends, family, charities, special groups, and stuff like that. And now it looks like they actually have the Eagles run through that tent. And Saquon Barkley ran through the tent, and you're listening to it, and you're like, this almost feels like a game day atmosphere. And Saquon Barkley talked about it in the interview with Diana Rossini. He talked about it yesterday during the press conference. It's like a kid on Christmas. It's like, pinch me moments. Like this is Philly. This is the way it is. This is as good as I could ever dreamed it to be. So from a talent standpoint, from a teammate standpoint, to I'm sure, lifestyle standpoint, being that he's a little closer to his family, and the amazing how like the fans are right on top of you. He made it a point yesterday to talk about how families are right there at the field too. So his family's going to be there later practices, and they're going to be right there watching him play. Usually they're off somewhere far, like with the Giants. He said they're up in like some like stands area. No, here they're right there. It's pretty awesome. So he's a happy camp. Things are starting off happy for Saquon Barkley. I think that's going to continue. As far as the spreading the football around, when it comes to the amazing amount of talent, I don't think he's going to be looking and going like, why are you giving Sterling Shepard the ball and not me? Why is Danny Dimes calling his own number on this one and not giving it to me. I don't think that is going to be going through his head. He's like, oh, A.J. Brown's pretty good. Yeah, I can understand why you would give him the football. Oh, Devontae Smith is pretty good. I can understand that. Oh, Jalen Hurts is pretty damn good quarterback. I understand why he might call his own number here. I don't think that's going to matter to Saquon Barkley because he realizes the talent that is surrounding him. So here's his mindset as far as all that talent goes and where he fits in.
I'm bought in. My mindset when I came here is I decided to come to this team because I know the team could help me for my legacy, for my career, and I know we had an opportunity to go out there and win games. And yes, I at one point was our focal point, and I know there will be times this season where there might be games where they're going to hand the ball off to 2-6, and I got to try to take over the game. There might be games where I got to sit back and watch A.J. Brown do what he do or Devontae Smith. So whatever it takes, that's what it is about. That's all I'm about, buying in, and whatever it takes to win games is what I'm willing to do.
I have every bit of confidence that he is going to keep that energy as the season goes on. And, yeah, I can't wait till 2-6 gets that football. As far as Darius Slay goes, competition. Oh, there's competition, baby, at the cornerback spot. He's not racing anybody, but he did get a lot of the old head questions. You've seen a lot. You've been around a while. You got some young guys here. How you keep it up? Like that kind of thing. So yesterday he got asked about the competition, and he says, it doesn't matter. Year 1, year 11, whatever the case might be, he's all about the competition.
It was love watching it. You know what I'm saying? I always tell every year I come in, I'm always in a competitive mode, and I always tell guys that, hey, one thing about Slay never gonna make it easy for nobody. So I just like to go out here and compete, and then I hope I make other guys go out here and compete as well, cause it's fun. It's like you get to go out here and compete and just and play hard, play the game you love, play the game you probably been playing forever, and you at the highest level of the game, and you just out here having fun. Yeah, I'm way older.
How do you prepare yourself?
It's easy. That's why I've been here 12 years, because I've been competing every year. Every year your job is up for opportunity, but as me, I just look at it as a great opportunity to meet new guys and the opportunity to go compete and then improve my skills.
There you go. That's easy. Yeah, you go. It's easy. Yeah, just compete. I'm just going out there and compete. Keep it going. The easy part. Competition, let the cream rise to the top. He's your only lock right now as a starting corner. The energy he has, the approach he has, the influence it has on everybody else around him. Love it. Quainion Mitchell talking about moving in with him. Hell yeah. Keep that energy going. I don't think Isaiah Rodgers, by the way, is going to be the starting corner outside him when the season starts, but it's nice that the Eagles gave a veteran that respect yesterday. That's how I'll put it to you. Look forward to hearing from some more players. Vic Fangio, look forward to hearing from him. Kellen Moore, we'll hear from him as camp goes on. Look forward to hearing how it all comes together so nicely. It is wild, man. We got preseason football just around the corner. Can't come fast enough. Especially, and I'm not this guy, but I kind of feel like this guy now. Like I've said for 10 years at least that I hate Eagles chants at Citizens Bank Park. Like at any point, even if the Phillies are down like 10 runs, I hate that. Phillies are up. Phillies are tied, whatever. Eagles chants at CBP, I hate. The only time I don't mind Eagles chants at Phillies games is when they're on the road. And it's like, all right, let's see how many Philly fans are here. And somebody, another section finishes off the chain. They're like, all right, cool. We got a lot of people in the house. That's great. So I'm not one to quickly turn the page and be like, well, the Phillies suck, so let's go Eagles. Like, no, I'm not. I'm in. I'm all in. But the way the Phillies have been playing lately, since the All-Star break, again, worst bullpen in baseball since the All-Star break, 8.08 ERA since the break. Losing 4 of 6, especially in the fashion in which they have been losing, with the bullpen blowing it mostly. The Eagles have been a welcome distraction. Yesterday Eagles were a welcome distraction. I went from watching the Phillies to then going and catching up on the press conferences and all that stuff from yesterday. But the Phillies have you at a bad spot right now because they're Like, look, the idea of the Phillies being the best team in baseball, I have held back on that sentence ever since the Orioles series, where they lost 2 or 3 to the Orioles. Having the best record in baseball does not make you the best team in baseball. We learned that in sports in general from just watching the Eagles last year. But yeah, everyone says your record is you are what your record is. Okay, sure. But if you're looking to be the best team, like if you said the World Series was started today, who's the best chance to win? I would look at the Orioles before I looked at the Phillies. The Yankees obviously have been in free fall for quite some time. It'll be in Philly in 4 days now. But as far as the Phillies have been playing as of late, they are far from the best team in baseball. They might have the best record, but they have not been playing like the best team in baseball for a little over a month and a half. You're talking about now in their last 36 games, they're 2 games over 500. Not ideal for the, quote, best team in baseball. So Tuesday, we went out there and we watched Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler went 7 scoreless. The offense did nothing for him. We watched Ranger Suarez go out there and battle in game 1 of the series against the Twins. The offense did barely anything for him. Bryce Harper got the 2-run home run in the top of the first inning. He thought, all right, let's go. And then he didn't get anything until the 9th inning. He didn't even get a runner on second base until the 9th inning. And that was a gift. Barely got a runner on second base in game 2 of this series. And that, too, was a gift with JT Realmuto getting on second base in the 7th inning on the same type of error. Throwing error by Castro that went into the Phillies dugout. You put a runner in scoring position. You're able to get runs late. You're able to win. 3 runs in the 9th inning. Holy hell, how'd that happen? But it happened, and they won. But they still didn't get any runs for the starting pitcher while he was in the game, in Zach Wheeler. Second time this year they did that to Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola went out there yesterday. 6 innings of work, 1 run. Offense had opportunities in the first inning, couldn't get anything going. Couldn't capitalize, rather. First inning of the game, Schwarber works a 5-pitch walk. Trey Turner gets a single that puts runners at first and third with nobody out. Harper fouls out. Bohm and Marsh back-to-back strikeouts end the inning. Second inning, Nick Castellanos, who has been hitting the ball extremely well over the last 2 months of the season, gets you a leadoff double. And by the way, a leadoff double in a 7-pitch at bat for Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos, 7-pitch at bat, leadoff double. Bryson Stott lines out to center field. Garrett Stubbs works a walk. Johan Rojas is at the plate. He sees a wild pitch. You get second and third. Runners on second and third with 1 out. Still can't get anybody across the plate. Kyle Schwarber strikes out, swinging at a changeup in the dirt. Trey Turner chases a fastball away from Festa. Get out of that inning. Bottom of the second inning, Wallner takes 4th home run of the season, and he put it 441 feet to center field. Makes it a 1-0 game, takes Aaron Nola deep. Phillies get back at him in the 5th inning, tie it up with Trey Turner getting the home run, 0-1 fastball. He was able to blast 425 feet to left center field, makes it a 1-1 ball game. Nola pitches himself out of a first and third with 1 out situation in the 5th inning, gets out of that unscathed, gets a clutch 6-4-3 double play with a great transition from Bryson Stott and a quick turn at second base there to get the double play. Just a 9-pitch inning there in the 5th inning for Aaron Nola. 6th inning, Phillies jump out a little bit more. They get a 3-run lead on Kyle Schwarber's 2-run single to center field. Great to see Kyle Schwarber go out there and get that hit. He needed it. Broke out of an 0-for-20 slump, 1-for-20 slump. Nice to see that. Got a sweeper he could take advantage of. Put it into center field for a 2-run single. Phillies go up 3-1, and then they get a little bit more insurance. Nick Castellanos gets the RBI single to right field, bringing home Brandon Marsh. 4-1 game in the 7th inning. At that point of the game, obviously Aaron Nola was out of it. He was done after the 6 innings. Phillies get a 4-1 lead going into the bottom of the 7th inning, and that's where all hell broke loose. Ryan Kerkering comes out yesterday. 3-2 count to Julian. Gets it a strikeout on a fastball. It was an 0-2 count that he took to a 3-2 count. All right, fine. Then he walks Castro on what was also a 3-2 count. He misses with a fastball away. Then he faces Lanark. He walks him also on a 3-2 count, missed on a sweeper. First and second, one out. They have a mound visit. Caleb Cotham comes out, goes back to the dugout. Kerkering facing Buxton, and he plunks Buxton. So now the bases are loaded on 2 walks, an out, 2 walks, and a hit batsman. That's it for Orion Kerkering. And by the way, before he even faced Buxton, he just looked cooked. Kerkering, he doesn't have stone face. Like Kerkering, you see how he feels. You're like, oh, that man he's got no confidence. That guy, no confidence, that guy. So after he plunks Buxton, they take him out of the game, and they bring in Matt Strom. Matt Strom gets the second out of the inning on a double. It was a double play ball. I guess Matt Strom was just late getting to the first base bag. I don't know what happened on it, but it should have been a 3-6-1 double play. Strom was late getting to the first base bag. They were only able to get 1 out. A run scores. It's a 4-2 game instead of an inning-ending double play. This turned out to really bite the Phillies in the behind when Matt Strom faced Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana blasted a pitch in the left center field gap. Brandon Marsh drifted over to it perfectly to make the catch and didn't get his hand in the air enough to catch the baseball. I don't know if there's something just wacky going on in the left center field gap because the previous game, Weston Wilson looked like he should have had a catch and didn't. So I don't know if there's something that they're looking at that they're missing. Probably just a coincidence. Brandon Marsh did not make a play that you have a lot of confidence Brandon Marsh can make. And I certainly have a lot of confidence Brandon Marsh can make that play. He did not make the play. Was it a long fly ball to deep left center field? Yes, it was. Did Matt Strom give up a little bit of a cookie? He absolutely did. But the ball was in play, and Brandon Marsh didn't make it. So now it's a tie ball game, 4-4. Nothing doing in the 8th inning. Jeff Hoffman. Jeez Louise, I wish. Jeff Hoffman gets through that, only gives up a hit. Did have a wild pitch as well, but he got through the 8th inning unscathed. 9th inning, Phillies couldn't do anything. Schwarber, Turner, Harper all go down 1-2-3 against Duran. And the ball gets put in the hands of Gregory Soto in the bottom of the 9th inning. I was saying to myself when Hoffman came in the 8th inning, I said, oh, Gregory Soto is going to pitch the 9th. And I was like, watch Gregory Soto after Zach Wheeler goes 7 scoreless, Aaron Nola goes 6 innings, 1 run. Neither of those guys get the win, and in both games, Gregory Soto is going to get a win. Watch this happen. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's no way he's going to get wins in back-to-back games. That's crazy. So Gregory Soto goes out, faces the first batter he sees is Lanark. He hits him. Cool. Then he throws a wild pitch while he's facing Martin, and Lanark goes to second. Martin lays down a sack bunt. Lanark goes to third. Now you're in trouble. So I know that it goes against all conventional wisdom to walk anyone to get to Carlos Santana, which is what would happen. And Carlos Santana is hitting .299 this season against left-handed pitching. So I know it doesn't make much sense. But let's put it like this. I got a lot more. You have to face Carlos Santana anyway. Do you honestly expect him to go up against 2 batters and get 2 outs? I'd rather him just face 1 batter and try to get the double play. Basically, it's the approach I was using earlier with Nick Sirianni, like do less. Hey, Carlos Santana, do less. Or excuse me, Gregory Soto, do less. Walk Kepler and just face Carlos Santana. I had more confidence that he could get 1 mistake off Santana than have success twice against 2 batters. So instead of basically you only need 1 lucky pitch against, you need 1 Carlos Santana rolling over on 1 as opposed to trying to get 2 outs on 2 different pitches by facing 2 different batters. I know it's ludicrous to think that way, but I have zero confidence in Gregory Soto. Barely got out of his appearance in game 2 of this series. He sucked in his second. He sucked in his second game 2 of this series, and somehow he got the win. 9 pitches, 2 strikes. Yesterday, I didn't even bother to look at the number for him. How many pitches did he throw yesterday? Now he takes the loss, so that's more fitting. Okay, through 6 pitches, half of them were for strikes. Gave up the hit. Kepler got the infield RBI single, walk-off RBI infield single. After the game, Rob Thompson was asked about why going to Soto and not Hoffman in the 9th inning. And the answer is, I mean, I expected the answer. When the question was asked, good, the question was asked, but the answer I could have given to you, and quite frankly, I've given you this answer before. Why does Rob Thompson not have Jeff Hoffman pitch the bottom of the 9th inning to close? Why does he go to Gregory Soto in that situation, not Jeff Hoffman? Well, it's because of matchups. Lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty, lefty. Rob Thompson's all about the matchups. That's why when you talk about Mason Miller, yeah, I'd love to get Mason Miller here. But Rob Thompson loves his matchups. So Gregory Soto gets used in another high leverage situation, doesn't come through in a high leverage situation. Rob Thompson after the game. What went wrong with Gregory Soto and what went wrong with the rest of the game?
Well, yeah, I thought he would, and maybe he will. He's just not attacking the zone like he was, in those last 10, 11 outings before these last 2. So sit down and talk with him and make sure that he's still got his confidence level and that he has the ability to throw the ball through the zone, get people out. We had plenty of opportunities early in this game, and that's really what it fell on. And we just didn't get hits with runners in scoring position early, but Nola threw the ball great. 95 in the last inning. That was good to see. But he commanded the baseball well. He got out of some jams, big double play. And I thought Hoffman threw the ball well, and I thought Strom did too. Just left the ball over the plate for Santana.
Yeah, it was terrible. Everything really sucked yesterday. But when you eventually grab a 3-run lead, you think, all right, the offense was not good early. Mets in the first and second innings. In total in the game, 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. But you did eventually give your bullpen a 3-run lead. And they couldn't hold it. You get and the bullpen and the defense. Brandon Marsh makes that play. It's all different. It's all different. Thank God today's an off day. I think we could all use a day off for the Phillies. I think we're all on the same page there. Hey, let me tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARS to get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARSY, and get $20 off your first purchase. Hey, when the Phillies are coming back in town against the Guardians and then the Yankees after that, maybe you want to go to the game. Get tickets with the Game Time app. Concerts, comedy shows, whatever the case might be, download the Game Time app to your phone. Have yourself a great time at the event. They have last-minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals, even ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So if you're going to a comedy show, you're going to a concert, you might miss the opening act, you might miss the middle, but you won't miss the headliner, and you'll see the headliner at a great discounted rate courtesy of the Game Time app. They even have ticket deals for an hour after that event starts. So that's pretty incredible. And how about this? The Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will get you back on 110% of the difference. That's right. They'll refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Game Time guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets. You can view your seat before you buy it on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARSY, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Game Time app. Download it to your phone. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about our friend Brett over at Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing. Morning, Jason A. What's going on? Kyle, what's popping? For whatever reason, the computer's a little on the slow side today. Might need to clean out some files. Nick Wright, Sirianni? Right. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? Good morning. Buddy Christ, hello again. Good morning to everyone except that bullpen leaking oil. That's funny. David Moe, what's going on, David Moe? Why can't we just take their word when they say everything is good? Why is it a concern? They play football, not run a friendship contest. Can we simply just move on from this? Well, I think it's important to know where your head coach and your quarterback are. And after yesterday, I know where they are. I would file them under they'll say hello in the hallway. And then I think that's about it. I don't think it's going to be a distraction. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I do think it's weird that that guy running the football team year in and year out has been asked to do less. And I do think that there is somewhat of, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily great, but I do think that Jalen is pissed that his man, Brian Johnson, got axed when Nick Sirianni's still here. I don't think he likes that very much. Buddy Christ. Biggest need at the deadline has to be a reliable relief pitcher if they actually want to be a World Series contender. Yeah, I would agree with that. Still number one to me. And I had Connor Thomas on yesterday on the postcast. He does Locked On Phillies podcast every day. So I had him on the postcast after yesterday's game. I think he, myself, most people are on the need a late inning bullpen arm above anything else. And then after that, another bat in the lineup. Jason A, need a high leverage pitcher at the deadline? Hell yeah. We never seen both of them up. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. Yeah, I feel like that was different too. Yeah, Sirianni. I'm sorry, Chirianni and Howie. Yeah. Sean Kilrain, Captain Caveman should have had that ball. No excuses. He's definitely hurt or something. Yeah, Sean, if you're Rob Thompson, how is Brandon Marsh still playing? They got the shot of him, and credit to NBC for this. That sound, by the way, was courtesy NBC Sports Philly. How do you get the shot of him not moving his arm, and he's trotting out to play left field? Brandon Marsh knows he's fighting for his job. He knows that he could be either traded, he could just lose significant playing time. If the Phillies do get another bat in the outfield, Brandon Marsh's job is at risk. So he's trying to fight through the injury. I admire that, but he's not 100%. Yeah, I saw this yesterday. Sean, Phillies reportedly interested in Lane Thomas, Kyle Finnegan. Let's go, Dabrowski, work your magic. Lane Thomas has had a down year for the Nationals. Last year, I would have loved to have seen him in a Phillies jersey. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. Kyle Finnegan wouldn't be a bad choice either. Lane Thomas, you'd have to file. I mean, he'd be low cost, and you would have to be banking on the change of scenery argument. And he'd be in a better lineup here. Yeah, where is he? I want to say he was at like 229. 247 average on the season. Let's look at his splits real quick. Oh, holy Stromboli. 213 against right-handed pitching, 229 against left-handed pitching this year. He's got 8 home runs. Kind of similar to Nick Castellanos. Hit 200 in April, then 286 in May, 276 in June, 270 in July. And the on-base percentage has stayed, for the most part, consistent. But definitely a drop-off from last year. In total, he's hitting 247 on the season with 8 home runs. Looking at his numbers in comparison from this year to last year was a phenomenal season. 28 home runs, hit 268, 315 on base percentage. So maybe not phenomenal, but the power numbers were obviously good. Yeah, I would be for making that acquisition. And like I said, it's not going to cost you a lot. As far as Kyle Finnegan goes, did he start his career with the Royals? I want to say he was the same year as Aaron Nola, because I think he was the first pitcher that actually came out and pitched in the World Series the year he was drafted. No, he was Washington all the way. I'm thinking of Ferguson. What the heck is that kid's name? Yeah, Kyle Finnegan. I wouldn't mind bringing both of them from Washington. Yeah, I wouldn't mind either. Whatever has Gregory Soto pitching less. His numbers on the season, 232 ERA. He's got 28 saves. Yeah. That would be an upgrade. Both players would be upgrades, Sean. Certainly. And they're not going to cost you that of a Brent Rooker or a Mason Miller. Saquon Barkley is going to do big things. I agree, Sean. Sean Gillespie. Slow day on the computer today. What's going on? Good morning. WC, very clear they're not besties, but shouldn't be a concern. Yeah, WC, Dak Prescott has certainly had his turnover issues, no doubt about that. The turnovers you just can't have, obviously. We learned that last year. I mean, it's just a common fact of football. Any sport can't have turnovers. But the thing is with Kellen Moore's offense, they could be putting the precious pigskin in peril even more. But hopefully that's not the case. Audio? Bad audio? Sorry. All the issues disappear with a win in Brazil. Let's hope for that. I don't think can Marsh be sent back down? I don't know if he has any options left. That's interesting. Jason, hey, Barkley is so incredible to listen to. Love his attitude. Yeah, I love his attitude as well. What was interesting about Wentz, Jason? How do we know if it's actually Sirianni that doesn't like Hurts or want Hurts? He originally wanted Wentz, so I wouldn't be surprised. How do we know if it's actually Sirianni that doesn't like Hurts? I don't think. Or you want Hurts. I don't. I think Nick Sirianni loves Jalen Hurts, and I think he wants to be loved back. I love you. I like you. Huh? Wait, what did you say? Did you say like? Tenacious D reference from back in the day. Anyway, yeah. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies off today. They start a 3-game series with another pretty damn good baseball team against the Cleveland Guardians tomorrow. Ben Lively set to make the start. Oh, Ben Lively will be on the bump for the Guards against the Phils. That'll be going on 6:40 on Friday. Programming announcement for Postcast. No Postcast on Saturday. I will be down the shore that weekend with the fam. So no Postcast that day, but I'll be back for Sunday to wrap up hopefully a series win over the Cleveland Guardians. Hey, how about a sweep of the Guards? Right? Let's cross our fingers for that. As for Eagles and training camp and all that stuff today, I'm trying to pull up that. Man, everything's slower. What the hell is going on here? I don't like it one bit. No. I know I had this for you guys yesterday. Nothing wants to. Nothing wants to play now. Oh, here we go. Okay. Vic Fangio is today. Today, 25th. Today's 25th. Vic Fangio addresses the media today, 9:40. Select players available to the media afterwards. I wouldn't be surprised today if we hear from Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Maybe even Devin White, hear from some defensive players after Vic Fangio speaks. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow for the Farzy Show. And also tomorrow there'll be a postcast after the Phillies and Guards play game 1 of the 3-game series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on Jacob Media. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Catch you guys tomorrow. See you. Bye.